If offsided too much, then step back to disengaging on its own. The desire is offsided too much, step back, disengaging on its own, simultaneously with the whole samsara child. Disengaging from disengagement itself, simultaneously with the whole samsara. This will purify the system of worldlings, throwing, seeing and knowing towards each other. This is the system of the worldlings, projecting forward. So step back, disengaging is on its own. Step back, disengaging is on its own. No grasping for the non-attachment itself. Step back from the non-attachment itself. Constantly. The non-attachment doesn't grasp for itself. The habits of the worldlings are a lot. Projecting forward, uprighting forward. Step back, no grasping on its own. Disengaging, stepping back from itself thoroughly. Even step back from itself as well, thoroughly. And proceed simultaneously with everything as well. This will end all about the personhood who is attached or detached, enlightened or not, nibbana or not. All this delusion will be ended. All the delusion to give significance and meanings with attachment, detachment, being enlightened or not. All of these will be ended. All that delusion to give significance and meanings is always there. Let's dissolve it. This is all about samudaya, the cause of suffering and the suffering. Proceed with everything, no grasping on its own. Step back from the stepping back itself is the same essence as no grasping on its own. Giving up on its own, these are all the same essence. It's all about purifying through the emptiness. Let's brighten up with the great compassion. Go ahead. Proceed simultaneously with every atoms of the elements. Proceed with everything simultaneously with the essence. Proceed with all the realm of existence within samsara. Give up the giving up itself. Disengaging from the disengagement itself simultaneously. Then no one will grasp for the non-attachment. No one will be limited with just non-attachment. Let's proceed simultaneously with the essence and everything all together. Let be the essence of the great compassion instantly. Then no one will be deluded with just non-attachment or with grasping or no grasping. Proceed simultaneously, no grasping is on its own. It will end all about grasping or not grasping, disengaging or not disengaging. Disengaging in a way that has no identification within it. Proceed with this essence, with everything. It will purify all those personhoods who disengage or not disengage. Disengage in a way that has no identification in it. emptiness that has nothing within it. Let's not be obsessed for the sake of one's own matters or collective matters, so that there will be the purification of the emptiness for all and everything simultaneously. All about directions is still narrow. Being obsessed with just the 4, the 8, the 10 directions is limited, very limited. That which is boundless, okay? To be obsessed with just certain directions is narrow. Stepping back from the stepping back itself, this is not to throw forward. This is the habit of the worldlings, only clashing. The habits of the waste, of the leftover. Only clashing, only throwing forward. Therefore, step back from the stepping back itself. Even the sustenance is not the way. Why clashing? Therefore, disengage in the way that has no identification in it. This will purify all the worldlings, all the noble ones, all the throwing forward, all the sustenance will be purified. No is not know itself. Why being obsessed to create anything out of nothing, huh? No is not even know itself. Why being obsessed to create anything out of nothing? If doing that so much, then one will be deceived. Having to do like this, having to be like that, always deceiving and being deceived. Give up the giving up itself with everything. No grasping for the non-grasping itself. Give up the giving up itself with everything completely. Even the sustenance cannot be used. It's like putting the heavy things on top of something. No grasping is on its own with everything. This will purify the origin of the samudaya totally within the samsara. Let's proceed simultaneously. Let's go over personal or collective matters, purify throughout simultaneously. No grasping on its own simultaneously with everything. Already said, this has to be beyond blossoming flowers. To be limited with just blossoming or budding is just limited with samsara. This has nothing to do with arising or ceasing, attaching or detaching. Let's not be circling only with this. Circling with this just arising or ceasing, that which has nothing to do with the uninvolvement itself. Disengage in the way that has no identification in it. That which has nothing to do with arising or ceasing, child. that which has nothing to do with trying to begin or to end anything. Let's empty out in the way that has no identification in it. Keep opening completely, beyond blossoming, beyond budding. It's stuck with just being wise, being awakened, being enlightened. Who is it in there? Let's not be stuck with just budding or opening. Emptiness that has no identification in it. No grasping in the way that has no identification in it. No grasping is on its own. Once it's shared simultaneously, this is the great compassion of the purification of the extinction, and the emptiness is amazing. This has nothing to do with any Buddha eras, because this will be shared forever and ever. Whether there will be an appearance of Buddha era or not, no grasping on its own is usually there, like all the same with everyone, sharing this essence. Nothing is in being the same anyhow. It's unlike the twins. Emptiness in the way that has no identification in it, non-attachment that has no identification in it, then it will be true non-attachment. Nothing is in the emptiness. Make up the great compassion to purify all the samudaya of personal or collective matters. These are all about suffering, more or less. Everyone has suffering all the same when there are samudaya, personally or collectively. Samsara is not here to be burdened. Samsara is not here to be infatuated along with. It's not to be burdened. Samsara exists because of the delusion. Without delusion, there is no samsara. Therefore, proceed simultaneously, disengaging that has no identification in it simultaneously. No in the way that has no identification within it thoroughly. No is not even no or yes. That's why no is not no itself. This will end the samudaya of the path, the samudaya that is the path. Let's end it. The path is there because of the samudaya. Without samudaya, there's no path. Where are you deluded to? Towards the enlightenment? What kind of identity that is deludedly walking there? This is always make up the samudaya on and on. There is no such thing as the path to the enlightenment. What is there is just a delusion. Make up the delusion to make up the path to the enlightenment. Without path, without delusion, there is no path. Proceed simultaneously with the great compassion. Altogether, the samudaya that is left over within the whole is still the karmic difficulties of samsara that is left over here. Is a lot. Therefore, don't run away from the samsara. Purify altogether, thoroughly. Don't run away from samsara. Let's purify it. Each one of us has been left karmic difficulties and hindrances and the sensations of Vedana so much within the samsara. It's not a few. Therefore, purify well. Disengaging is not individual. Everything is disengaging on its own. This will purify through the extinction simultaneously. This is helping through the enlightenment, not just enlightenment or not just about cutting. This is helping through cutting. Let's make up the great compassion for samsara. What's the cause? Because of samsara, which is the factor. Otherwise, there is no need to make up the great compassion here. Once there is samudaya of samsara, we have to make up the great compassion to purify it. That's all. Therefore, the great compassion is anatta within itself, is meaningless in itself. It's not something to be fixated upon. Listen well. The Maha Karuna is not something that is substantial. It is made up to purify through the extinction and the emptiness according to the factors of samsara that is there. Therefore, the great compassion happens. Without samudaya, there is no great compassion. There is no samsara. This is the non-existence that doesn't exist. Not having, even the not having itself. Therefore, let's not be obsessed for the sake of one's own extinction or emptiness. This is childish. Emptiness in the way that has no identification in it. There is no such thing as individual emptiness. Emptiness is not emptiness itself. This is the belief values of opinions that create individual emptiness. It's called samudaya in itself. Samudaya within the belief values. Emptiness is not emptiness itself. It's impossible to own the emptiness. It's not something to take. Let's come to terms with the emptiness that is not emptiness thoroughly. Don't own the emptiness individually, indefinitely. It's gonna be distorted, insanely distorted. Emptiness is not emptiness itself. Not having, even the not having itself. Therefore, let's not be stuck with just ending, emptying, extinction. Let's use this essence to purify for samsara through the extinction and the emptiness thoroughly.